Hey there folks, how you doing today? Hope you're having an awesome day. Well, today we're going to do a little 2 for Tuesday brought to you by that fine fella Tom over at Knife Lights. And we're going to look at 2 knives from Rasputin's Castle's personal collection. And these are both Robeson Cutlery knives. Now Mike did a video a little while back stating that that was one of his favorite brands to collect. So it's pretty cool he sent a couple this way for me to check out. Now we've got one from the early part of the 1900s and one from the mid pushing to later part of the 1900s. Both very similar in design, but let's dive in and have a look. So these are both stockmans and they come in at 3 1/4 inches. So they're kind of a cigar stockman. Got your clip point blade, and here's your tank stamp, Robeson SurEdge USA. And on the flip side, you have your model number. Then you have your sheep's foot. Pretty aggressive looking sheep's foot. Very broad at the tip with a taper down. And you have a pen blade. So there's your overall look. Now, just for comparison, there's your tank stamp. And you'll notice that's a little bit different, but it's a Robeson SurEdge USA. And there's your model number. And if we look, they both have the same model number. But there's a lot of years separating the 2 knives. So again, your clip point. Slightly different sheep's foot, but this one's been well used. And then again, a pen blade. Somebody put the grinder hard on this poor old fella. But still a great example. So there you have it. Both very similar in design, separated by a few decades in their manufacture. Now the older one, the covers, I'm not sure. They're black. We can learn a little bit from the serial number, and we'll get into that in a bit. And this one has a Delrin, and it's kind of a strawberry Delrin. And that will matter too as we get into a little bit of history on the company. So the Robeson Cutlery Company is well known for production in Rochester, New York, but they actually started in 1894 by Millard Robeson, and he started in Camillus, New York. In 1898, he moved the factory to Rochester, New York, and Adolph Castor bought the plant in Camillus, and that was the origination of the Camillus Cutlery Company. So in 1901, they registered the trademark for SurEdge. And Robeson had different lines, but we're looking at SurEdge today. So the manufacturer stayed in Rochester, New York until about, I think, around 1965. So during the early 1900s, Robeson was considered one of the top American knife manufacturers. They mainly produce working man's knives, but they also produce some gentlemen's knives as well. Now, by the beginning of World War II, the company was facing some trouble due to competition from German brands. In 1940, it was sold to Saul Frank, who hired Emerson Case, of the famous Case brothers, to head up the company and try and revitalize it. And one of the ways he did that was to secure several military contracts, like the M3 trench knife, the Mark II fighting knife. They produced a version of the TL-29 electrician's knife, and several others. One of the things they were very well known for was their strawberry bone that they put on their knives, and they did that from 1948 until 1959. and those are highly sought after by collectors. In 1960, they switched to Delrin. In 1964, the Cutler Federal Corporation purchased the company. Emerson Case stayed on for a year and then retired in 1965. And at this time, production facilities closed and production was contracted to the Camillus Cutlery Company. The Ontario Knife Company later purchased the brand and continued to release Robeson knives until 1977. Now, for dating a Robeson knife, we're fortunate that they produce a lot of information for dating their knives. The serial numbers indicate materials, and materials were used for various portions of time, and they also had a variety of tank stamps that you can date by. So when you're looking at serial number, your first number is the handle material. Your second number is the number of blades, and your third number indicates the material for the liners and the bolster. And then the last three numbers are your model number. Now, I'm not going to go into all of the various tank stamps and all the various materials, but there are some great resources, and I can put some links to those in the comments below. Let's take a look at the first one. Now, Mike dates this one as 1921 to 1940. Now, if we look at the tank stamp, we see here that SurEdge is in script. It has Robeson, the SurEdge, then USA. So that puts this one as a 1916 to 1939, based on the average of the charts that I found. So if we look at the serial number, the first number being a 6, that tells us that it is either genuine bone, jigged rough black plastic, or jigged Delrin. The second number tells us the number of blades, and the third number, being the liner and bolsters, tells us that it's nickel silver liners and bolsters. Now, the earlier forms, I think, of the bone were initially green, and then I think they later went to brown, and then eventually went to that sought after strawberry bone. This one, I'm going to guess, is the rough black plastic. It has that kind of plastic feel and look to it. Just doesn't feel to have that density of bone. Now, if we look at the tank stamp on this one, we see it still has Robeson, SurEdge USA, but it's no longer a script. It's a block letter. So that puts this one between 1940 and 1964. Now, Mike has this one listed as a 1960 till 65. If we look again at our model number, we see 6 for the first number. So that tells us it's either natural bone, that jigged black plastic, or it's Delrin. And in this case, this one is Delrin. Now, as we said before, after 1959, when they stopped producing strawberry bone, they went to Delrin in 1960. So that gives us a rough date of 1960 to 64 on this one. And then again, we have the nickel silver bolster and the nickel silver liners. But the two knives, the design hasn't changed a great deal over time. They're still both your basic cigar shape, basically the same blade designs. One has a shield, one doesn't, and even basically the same jigging pattern. Nickel silver liners, nickel silver bolsters, so we've got a few decades separating these knives, but they're very much the same. So that's probably a testament to the quality of the knives, because people just kept buying them, and people are buying it. Why change it? Anyway, folks, I hope you enjoyed the quick look and a little bit of history on these Robeson knives. If you're a collector, I think you can probably just focus on Robeson knives and have yourself a good sized collection of some quality knives. That said, it's a beautiful day here, very warm, sun shining. I'm going to get back outside and enjoy the day, and hope you do the same. And if you're not having a great day, you know what I always say, go spend some time in the woods. It'll make you feel better. Take a knife with you. Might just come in handy. You all take care.